Howdy folks, and welcome to the Homestead with Kevin Kempstead. Today we're working on our camper van. Last year we went on a road trip to Utah and we were in our van for about 2 weeks. We weren't camping out of it, so we don't need to actually live in it, but we did want to get some organization in here and try to use up all of the volume that's in there, that vertical space. So I kind of quick slapped together a prototype that worked really well for our trip. This storage up here, this drawer that pulled out, had our Dometic refrigerator in it. There's got to be some modifications made to that, but overall it worked out pretty well. Underneath it, I had a space for our camp stove to slide into. And then in the rest of this space, we got some of those Rubbermaid kind of 5-drawer systems. We had one here, and then we just mounted one straight to the deck over on this side as well. And that's where we kept all of the clothes. And then we kind of used the rest of this space as well as we could. So like I said, it worked out pretty well last year, but this year we're hoping to maximize on all this space and try to make this a little more utilitarian, I suppose. So here is my very crude idea. We're going to shift what we already have over to the right side of the van. And that is going to give us this space over here where it currently is. Now, one of the issues with taking out this rear seat is that this is a daily driver and we can only fit 4 people in this enormous van. It would be nice to have a bench that we can put another 1 or 2 people if we're just driving around town. And so that's the idea. We're gonna have a permanent bench set up right over here and maybe some drawers over here as well that we can keep all of our emergency equipment, tire jack, that kind of thing. And then when we need to, on road trips, we'll take our modular system right here and we can throw it in. And then on top of what will be the bench, we can put drawers in when we're going for a road trip and make use of all of this vertical space here. And same over on this side. So this will be over here. We can do the same thing. We can put drawers on top of it and fill up all of this vertical space. We've also trying to make use of some of this just space that was behind these decor panels, these beauty panels. We might be working on the audio system for the van. We've got speakers in here for the TV, but they don't work. And it would be nice to have some really good sound system in here so that the kids are entertained while we're going on these long trips. So some of this area in here, we wouldn't really be able to access it when we've got our shelving system set up, but it could house some audio components, maybe a spare battery, or if we need to put in an amplifier or something like that. So right now we're brainstorming and we'll see where we go from here. Howdy folks, working on this van and we're trying to figure out how deep into the weeds we want to get with this project. And I think we're going to get pretty far into the weeds. Right now we are looking at ripping out the carpet. Not all of the carpet, but just the back cargo area. We're going to be doing all of our modifications. So the carpet from where you see that line forward, that'll all stay. But back here, I think we're going to rip it out. I had the plywood mounted on here, and part of the problem was that it looks flat, but it's not really flat. You've got a lot of humps and stuff like that. Some bolts that were there for the seats before that I think we can get rid of. And if we take this carpet out and put the plywood directly onto the floor that's underneath it, I think we're going to be much flatter, have a much more stable surface. So you can see that knife right there. I decided we're going to make the cut right along this line, and we'll do some sort of transition between the plywood floor and the carpet and try to make it look good. But that is what we are working on right now. Let's see how it goes. Well, there we go. That's what we have to work with. You can see we got some, obviously we'll have to take the rest of this padding off. These plates that were there for the original back seat, these guys here too, We might need to remove all of those. We'll see. We'll see how far we have to go with this. I'm thinking of getting like an insulating membrane, just a thin kind of foam layer to reduce the road noise a little bit. And then the plywood will just go right on top of that. We'll have to see what this plate's for. I'm not quite sure what that is. We got all that electrical there too. So we got some stuff to figure out. This seems to be so far just taking a lot of stuff apart. See, I got panels off all over the place so that I can get an idea of what I'm actually working with and what I need to do, where I can route different power and everything. So I think it'll probably be a little more disassembling before we even get close to reassembling. We're on the outside of the wheel well, and you can see I got my vice grips attached to that nut there to hold that in place as we come inside. And take this plate off. All right, Calypso, go hold on to that. Go hold on to the wrench on the other side. It's on the back side. You see it? You got it? Okay. All right, come bring it to me. Let's see. Show it to me. Perfect. Good job. Now we'll do the other one. I think I have all of the aftermarket brackets out. All these panels that were through here and over there. Everything that was here to hold the back seat in, and then I think the rest of it was for the seat belts. That's all out. So really the only other stuff I have to deal with to have a completely bare floor is this stuff up here. This is a lot of the accessory wiring that comes from the front to the back, and you can see it's kind of a jumbled mess, and really I don't think I'm going to be using a lot of it, so we'll see if I touch all that or not. But my main issue that I have to deal with is the fact that it's running under the floor. This might hold me up here because it's on top of the high spots, which is where the plywood is supposed to be laying down. So we'll see. I don't know, I got to figure out how to deal with that. This plate here, I was trying to see how far up it went. It goes pretty far underneath the carpet that way. It might be a bracket to hold the gas tank. So not touching that one. I'll end up having to make a relief cut in the plywood to accommodate that little bit of extra height that bracket has above the floor. And then the other thing I might do is take out this heater just so that I can insulate the walls. You can see back on this side, it's all just bare metal, and I would like to put that foam insulation on both sides to try to keep it a bit quieter in here, cut down some of that road noise. So this is all just one big unit. It's the rear heater, and I haven't figured out how it attaches yet, but I think I can just pull the whole thing out, put that insulation on behind it, and then put it back in, hopefully without too much difficulty. boy. Oh. Turns out the blower is connected underneath the vehicle where the AC lines run in, so I'm not going to touch with that now. I might still take it off, but I'll wait till I actually have the installation and I'm ready to install it. That way it's not sitting off to the side for weeks or whatever. And that all jumbled wires, I'm not ready to touch that yet either and figure out what's what. So I'm going to work on the plywood, specifically this side. This is going to be the bigger, almost full sheet, 4 feet wide. And then since it's wider than 4 feet, I'm going to have to use 2 pieces, and I'm going to split it right here on this ridge going all the way down. That should be under the bench, so we won't even see that seam there. Not that we'll see any seam, but the seam will be under the bench. So I'll need to scribe it along this side over here around the wheel well, and then the length, our total length is, I believe, 6 feet. Yep, comes right out to 6 feet. So we will cut our tempered hardboard to 6 feet, and then we can start scribing it. I'm using this tempered hardboard, which is basically just pegboard, because I can't find 1/4 inch MDF down here to save my life. Nobody has it. And 1/2 inch is too heavy and too expensive right now. So this stuff it is. All right, we just finished cutting our template, and let's see if it fits in here. All right, not too bad. So this stuff is fitting pretty well. We'll actually need to trim this down so that corner's not hidden, because we want, actually that's not too bad. We want this board splitting right on this, right on that ridge there. So we might actually not be too bad right there. If that's the case, we'll get some scraps in here and we'll fill these edges in so we can get a nice clean corner. We'll see how all this fits in, how flat it is, but not too bad. Alright, so this shelf is maybe a foot, 16 inches deep, something like that. And if we look back here, I have so much more space than that. There really isn't a whole lot back here either. I mean, and then the question is, do I just want to utilize that as storage space? I mean, that's a lot more storage space. Or do I want to increase the area of this tall ceiling? I think that's the original roof of the van right there before they put this conversion top around, that high top. I could cut it back even further. Heck, I could cut it back even further, use that same box, push it back further, another 6 or 8 inches probably. And the only thing that would Only problem that would cause is then I would have a gap between the front of this panel here, that panel, and then this whole panel that comes up on the side, but whatever. It's not a big deal. Those hoses could probably get moved back further. I mean, this is just that aluminum, sheet aluminum, some plywood underneath it, and this metal bracket, which that metal bracket would just get moved back further too, depending on how it's connected to here. I mean, it has one screw in it. That's it, one screw. We could move this back 6 or 8 inches to there. Give myself, well, not me, I mean, I can't stand up in this, but give the girls another 6 or 8 inches of headspace. I mean, this is the area we're going to be using to change clothes and get supplies for camping or whatnot, so an extra half a foot, 8 inches of headroom could definitely be helpful. We're going to have to consult with the Mrs. Homestead on this one before we go cutting stuff out. Alright, this thing had one screw in the back, 2 screws kind of up under this light, and then this light also was holding it. We're going to disconnect this guy. This might be a bad idea. Figured it out. There's just some adhesive that had all the material together. I think I figured it out. We'll probably need some pliers and some little pliers. Alright. Now, you can see we've got this venting here that needs to come off. And I think that's the last thing that's connected. Alright, let me do all this. I'll get back to you. One on that side and one on that side. There are about 8,000 or 9,000 screws holding that stuff in, so that took a little bit. I think we're good now. Yeah, this was like an antenna or something. I couldn't figure out where this was going before. No idea. The roof's out, at the ceiling at least. Well, that might have been the dumbest thing I've done so far. We will see. But now, the ceiling's exposed, and with it is all the wiring. And now I'm wondering if, since I've got this stuff exposed, if I put insulation up there too. We'll see about that. Well, this cable that was connected to the original TV, and I never could figure out where it went because there's no antenna on top of the van. It turns out there's one of those flat antennas right here. I don't know that it actually works or not, but I guess we'll keep it. This here was the electrical control for the sofa seat that was back here. It would tilt and move forward and backwards, so it needed some extra electrical controlling, I guess. This is the stuff running to the fuse box on there, so that's disconnected. And then this actually ran to the sofa. Got rid of that a while ago. And then this one ran all the way up and around to the controls that are there on the back side. So since there's no more sofa seat, we don't need any of that anymore.